Hey everyone, welcome back to my virtual arcade, and today I'm going to be giving you a quick overview of my modded Wii Perfect Arcade setup along with the arcade stick. Now just note this isn't a tutorial for you guys, but I have supplied the links to all of the tutorials that I followed to get my Wii to where it is. I just want to also make sure that you guys get this GameCube to Wii adapter. I will supply the link to this down in the description below. It basically helps out with two of the emulators that I have here on my modded Wii. For some reason, sometimes it doesn't recognize the arcade stick, but when I plug in the arcade stick to that, it recognizes it perfectly, and then I'm able to game. And so this is my setup right here. These are all of the emulators that I have, pretty much all of the emulators that I need. I don't think that I need to get any more. I've got thousands and thousands of games on this. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So first off is USB Loader GX, and this basically plays all of the Wii backups and ISO games. It also launches GameCube games. We'll get to that in a second. Here we have FCE Ultra GX, and this is the NES Nintendo emulator, which plays all of your NES ROMs. A bunch of great 8-bit games. I actually play this a lot, believe it or not, and this is actually one of the emulators where you're gonna need that arcade stick adapter. Next is the SNES 9X GX, and this is obviously the Super Nintendo emulator. Again, you're probably going to need that adapter. For some reason it just doesn't recognize the arcade stick properly, so if you have that issue, guys, just go ahead and look into that adapter. Next is Wii 64, not 64. You can actually get either or. For some reason they made two, one supposedly better than the other, but look into that, guys. This plays this plays N64 games kind of well. However, some of them don't really emulate well. Next we have Nintendo, which is for the GameCube ISOs, and this emulates all of the GameCube games perfectly, and there are quite a few fighting games that I didn't even know existed that I found on the GameCube, and the GameCube ISOs can actually be loaded through USB loader. Next is Mame, and this is what basically emulates all of the arcade games up to a certain point. The larger games it has issues with or doesn't play at all. It's kind of a picky emulator. And this is similar to Mame. This is called Retroarch. Now this basically plays all of the different arcade emulators as well, and I think it's better than Mame. However, Mame for some reason seems to recognize all four of my arcade sticks and classic controllers. I can't play 4-player games on Retroarch for some reason. Next is Gen X. This plays all of the Genesis games that I have, and then it also plays Sega CD and the Sega Master System. And lastly, we have the Sony PlayStation 1 emulator. This seems to emulate a lot of the games pretty well for the most part. And there are some games that just don't work at all or just very glitchy, but make sure you guys get that. Now there is room for a lot of other emulators, guys, and there are tons of other emulators out there like GBA, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, Virtual Boy, Atari, Coleco, just so many retro games. But this is my setup. I really don't want to expand on this. I think I have enough games. I do, however, have virtual console games. Sadly, the virtual console is dead now, thanks Nintendo, but it's okay because I have an SD card and I've been able to find the games that are actually good from the virtual console, and actually some WiiWare games are really good too. I have some TurboGrafx games in here, some Neo Geo games. That's another reason why I didn't really go for the other emulators. That's it for my setup, guys. I will supply links to the YouTube tutorials in the description below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, and if you get stuck with anything, just let me know and I'll try to help you guys out as best as I can. And just stay tuned for the next episode because I've got a lot coming.